Hey there! Thank you for joining me. I am an Army veteran, a retiree, and a federal government employee, and this channel is for the transition from military to civilian. In this video, I will be giving you interview tips for the federal job. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Now let's get started. Alright, so I've interviewed at over a dozen departments for the federal government around the Washington D.C. area, and each one of them were a little bit different. There were times where I had one individual that was interviewing me, and there were other times where I had a group as large as 5 individuals that were interviewing me. Sometimes it's a friendly experience, and other times it's more of a rigid experience. But there are still consistencies across all of them, and that you should take into consideration when you're preparing for your interview. First, once you receive your interview request, what you want to do is research that department or agency and find out what their mission statement is. Find out what their vision is, and also research their key leadership that work there. Make sure you research current events that could have impacted that department. Second, print out the job announcement and really study it. Understand the qualifications and the how you will be evaluated section. Look through there. Also, look at who's going to be interviewing you. These individuals you can research using LinkedIn. You can find out what their academic background is. Perhaps they might have went to the same school or have the same degree that you have. Or maybe they were prior military and they were in the same service as you. What you're looking for is areas of commonality so that you can have common ground with the person that's interviewing you. Third, create success stories. Now, the way that I recommend doing this is using the acronym SOAR: Situation, Objective, Action, and Result. You want to create these success stories. Type them up or write them down, and you want to have one for each keyword that's being used in the job announcement. So if it is a job for a program analyst, then analyze or analytical skills might be on the job announcement. You want a success story so that you can communicate your experience as it pertains to those words that the department is looking for. So during the interview, if they say, please share with us times where you've analyzed data, you don't want to just say, when I was stationed at Schofield Barracks, I analyzed a spreadsheet. No, you want to have a fully crafted out success story. I would create a minimum of 10 of these success stories, and I would rehearse them, read through them, practice with somebody, and understand that you won't have the perfect answer for every question. So you're going to need to be able to pivot and modify your success stories based on the questions you're being asked. Fourth, you want to try to be personable and let some of your personality come out without being too familiar. In the military, some of us can be robotic or dry or emotionless, and you don't want to convey those type of attributes. I would also suggest maintaining eye contact and smiling when appropriate. Most people are going to understand that during an interview, the person being interviewed is anxious and stressed and a little awkward and uncomfortable. Remember that it is still important to display your confidence. Once again, during the interview, look for opportunities in which you can develop and establish the common ground that you may have with the people that are interviewing you. Fifth, make sure that you're asking questions at the end of the interview. This is done to show that you truly have interest in the position and you're considering it. So you want to have 2 or 3 questions already written up before the interview takes place. And these type of questions are, what's expected of this position in the next 3 to 6 months? Or what is the work culture like in this organization? Or when will a decision finally be reached on the selection process for this position? Questions like that. Finally, after you ask your questions, they're going to thank you and conclude with the interview. And it's at this time where you want to express your gratitude, thank everybody for their consideration and their time. And if you really want the job, you need to look them in the eyes and let them know that. Say, thank you, I really want this job. Communicating that directly can sometimes have a great impact. A few more tips would be to definitely conduct rehearsals. So either a friend or a loved one, if you don't have either of those, you can do it with yourself. The practice will show during the interview. Also, try not to use acronyms and stay away from military terminology unless it's directly relevant to the department. Have answers already written up and rehearsed for common questions like, what are your weaknesses? Why do you want to work here? Why did you leave your last job? Every interview completed is part of a learning process, and it'll help you become more prepared and better for the next interview. I recommend that you continue to accept all interviews until you finally receive your final job offer. After that point, you can decline future interviews through an email. Well, that wraps up the video on tips for interviewing at a federal job. If you have any interview tips or any questions or comments, please leave those down below. And if you like this video, please click like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.